What happens when curiosity leads you into a house that feeds on fear? Let's find out. This is the story of Claire, a historian whose insatiable curiosity led her to the doorstep of a mansion steeped in mystery and dread. A mansion that had stood for centuries, its walls whispering secrets of the past, its windows darkened by the weight of untold stories. On the outskirts of an isolated village, an old mansion stands shrouded in mystery and dust. The villagers spoke of it in hushed tones, their eyes darting nervously whenever the mansion was mentioned. It was said that no one who entered ever came out the same, if they came out at all. The mansion had a reputation, a dark allure that drew the brave and the foolish alike. Rumor has it, a family disappeared one stormy night, leaving the house cursed. The storm had raged for hours, lightning illuminating the mansion in brief, terrifying flashes. When the storm finally passed, the family was gone, leaving behind only whispers and shadows. The mansion became a place of fear, a symbol of the unknown. Enter Claire, a brave historian, flashlight in hand, ready to uncover the mansion's secrets. Claire had heard the stories, but she was not one to be deterred by tales of ghosts and curses. She believed in facts, in history, in uncovering the truth. And so, with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, she stepped into the mansion, her flashlight cutting through the darkness. The wooden floors creaked as she moved through rooms filled with cobwebs. Each step seemed to echo through the empty halls, a reminder of the silence that had settled over the mansion. The air was thick with dust, and the smell of decay was almost overwhelming. But Claire pressed on, her determination unwavering. In the library, Claire stumbled upon a hidden staircase leading to a chilling basement. The staircase was narrow and steep, the steps worn and uneven. It was as if the house itself was trying to keep its secrets hidden. But Claire was undeterred. She descended the stairs, her flashlight flickering in the darkness. Her flashlight flickered, the air grew colder. The basement was even more foreboding than the rest of the house. The walls were damp and covered in mold, and the air was so cold that Claire could see her breath. She shivered, but not just from the cold. There was something else, something she couldn't quite put her finger on. A sense of being watched, of not being alone. In the center of the basement, a decrepit table held yellowed papers and a dusty book. The book was old, its cover cracked and faded. The papers were brittle, crumbling at the edges. Claire's curiosity got the best of her. She reached out and picked up the book, her fingers leaving smudges in the dust. Claire's curiosity got the best of her. She opened the book, the pages crackling as she turned them. The writing was in a language she didn't recognize, but there were drawings, symbols that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. She felt a strange compulsion to read aloud, as if the book itself was urging her on. She read aloud from the book, unknowingly calling upon spirits. The words felt strange on her tongue, foreign and ancient. As she spoke, the air around her seemed to change, growing colder and heavier. She could feel a presence, something dark and malevolent, stirring in the shadows. A sudden chill enveloped her. Shadows darkened and writhed. The room seemed to come alive, the shadows moving and shifting as if they had a will of their own. Claire's heart raced, but she couldn't stop reading. It was as if the book had taken control, and she was merely a vessel for its dark power. Out of nowhere, a figure appeared, a tall, gaunt man with hollow eyes. He stared, unblinking. His presence was overwhelming, a cold, dark force that seemed to suck the very life out of the room. Claire felt a wave of fear wash over her, but she couldn't look away. The man's eyes seemed to bore into her soul, seeing everything, judging everything. As Claire approached, he vanished, leaving an icy presence behind. The air was so cold that it burned, and Claire could feel the fear rising in her chest. She knew she had to get out, but the basement seemed to close in around her, the walls pressing in, the darkness suffocating. She turned and ran, her footsteps echoing in the empty space. Panicked whispers filled the air, and the basement door slammed shut, trapping Claire inside. The whispers were everywhere, surrounding her, filling her mind with fear and doubt. She could hear voices, some pleading, some mocking, all of them driving her deeper into panic. She pounded on the door, but it wouldn't budge. She was trapped. Desperate, she searched for an exit. She ran from room to room, her flashlight flickering, the shadows closing in. Every door was locked, every window barred. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, and Claire could feel her sanity slipping away. She had to find a way out, but the mansion seemed determined to keep her. The whispers grew louder, beckoning her closer. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, a cacophony of voices that filled her mind. She could hear her name, whispered in tones of fear and anger. She followed the sound, her heart pounding, her mind racing. She had to find the source, had to understand what was happening. She realized the symbols on the walls were warnings, speaking of a malevolent force feeding on fear. The symbols were ancient, their meaning lost to time, but Claire could feel their power. They seemed to pulse with a dark energy, a warning to anyone who dared to enter. She understood now that the mansion was alive, feeding on the fear of those who entered. With a final effort, Claire broke a window and escaped. The glass shattered, and she felt the cold night air rush in. She climbed through the window, her hands bleeding, her heart racing. She ran, not daring to look back, the whispers still echoing in her mind. She had escaped, but she knew she would never be free of the mansion's dark influence. As she fled, the mansion's windows glowed faintly, as if alive, watching her. The glow was eerie, a reminder of the dark power that still resided within. Claire could feel its gaze on her, a cold, unblinking stare that seemed to follow her every move. She knew she had to get as far away as possible, but she also knew that the mansion would always be a part of her. Claire never returned, but her story became a new chapter in the mansion's sinister legend. The villagers spoke of her in hushed tones, adding her tale to the growing list of those who had encountered the mansion's dark power. The mansion stood as a reminder of the unknown, a place where fear and curiosity collided. And so, the legend of the haunted mansion lived on, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurk in the shadows. Claire's encounter was just one of many, but it served as a warning to all who dared to enter. The mansion was a place of fear, a place where the past and present collided, a place where the line between reality and nightmare was blurred. And it would continue to stand, a silent sentinel, waiting for the next curious soul to cross its threshold. The end.